All right, Bulldog fans, we're back for week 2 of the Ellensburg Bulldog Athletic Report here with Jonathan Gordon, my good friend and Ellensburg PA, the voice of the Bulldogs, if you will. And you know what? You might have heard him this weekend at Central Washington University as well, calling the football game.
That is correct. 2 weeks in a row, 2 Bulldog home games, 2 Central home games. Voice was a little tired Sunday morning, but glad to be able to have the opportunity to do it.
And now we're supposed to be talking Bulldogs, but the Cats had a huge upset on Saturday.
Pretty good win, yeah. They've always kept it pretty close with Angelo State, but they got a big win, which was important for them, especially coming off of a loss to an NAI team the week before. So whenever you beat a top 10 team in the nation, it's always good and a way to show our new students at the university what Central football is all about.
Awesome. Well, speaking about big wins, we had some big wins last week in all of our sports. And to start things off, just recently, Friday night, the Bulldog football team kind of took it to the Seal Vikings.
They did, 41-0. Scored in every quarter. 1 touchdown each of the first 3 quarters, and then kind of turned it on a little bit in the fourth quarter. Got a little running clock the last about a minute and a half for the big win. I think that's the 3rd time we've shut the Vikings out in the last 9 meetings, I think I found, and 11 wins in the last 13 against Sela. So really good team effort. Individually, Colton Magruder goes for 230 yards on the ground. Threw a little shovel pass in there as well, and made some plays on defense. Darius Andaya had 3 touchdowns. Really good all-around effort. Again, it was close early. Kind of separated ourselves in the fourth quarter, and that was really nice to see.
You kind of articulated it. We had a little bit of a slow start Friday night. First 3 plays had a few penalties and backed us up quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But I think the offensive line kind of started to figure it out a little bit and enabled our skill guys to perform like you were just saying. Darius and Colton had some spectacular plays. At the end of the game, Skylar Summers was able to run a few as well.
Yeah, and that was good. You take a look back last year. Last year we beat Sela down at their place on a Saturday. Colton Magruder had 5 touchdowns, I think, in that game. And that was kind of the indoctrination, if you will, for lack of a better term off the top of my head. But we took it to him by doing things on the ground, and we got to our skill players, and they did what they were supposed to do. They had great support, like you said, from the offensive line to put them in a position to win. And then you get later in the game, Skylar Summers, like you mentioned, is a senior, able to get an opportunity to get in there late. Get a touchdown. Really strong performance, I think, from your quarterback, too, Liam Ewan. I think he completed 12 of his first 13 passes, ended up 12 out of 15, for the game. Not a lot of yards, but was able to kind of engineer the offense as needed. And then there was the opportunities for, I think they call it the Bulldog. Traditionally it's called the Wildcat formation with Magruder and Daya, taking direct snaps and so on. But that seemed to work well too, being able to kind of change things up. So a really good offensive game, but obviously, like I said, anytime you hold an opponent to 0 points, that's a great day for your defense, and certainly did that. Had a couple of interceptions, I think, in the contest, and that was really kept Sela from being able to get anything going.
Absolutely, just some great play by our defense, and something else I was excited about was John Nelson kicking some PATs on Friday night.
Absolutely, he was nails. I think he had 1 blocked, and it was on his last attempt, so that would have been the 5th one, and then we got one of our freshmen in there to kick the last one, Galician. So that was a good all around effort. Kicking game was on as well, and so hopefully we can build on that going to face a good an improved team in Grandview this week. They won their first 2 games. Now, given they were against 1A foes at home, Wahluke and Wapato, neither of them necessarily known for their football prowess, but they're still wins. You still got to go out and play the games. Home or away, doesn't matter if you're playing 4A, 1A, or anywhere in between. And then they turned around and gave Prosser a run for their money. I think that game ended up a little bit closer than it actually was. I think Grandview started the fourth quarter with a pick 6 in that game last week. Ended up being only a 7-point margin for Prosser. And so I think that's good from the standpoint of the parity in the league. I mean, I don't think there's any dominant team out of the 7 in the league, which is going to mean there's a lot of possibilities between here and the end of October. So, but still be a formidable challenge for us. And, we've had their number in years past, and hopefully, building off of last week's win, we'll be able to keep that going, coming into the Prosser game a week from this Friday.
Yeah, Doug's got to show up and play Friday night. It's down there on turf. Mm-hmm. It kind of changes things a little bit for our running game. We still have some pretty good skill kids, but it comes down to scheme. Everybody's fast on turf, so We're going to have to scheme them and hopefully we can work harder and come out victorious.
Absolutely, and I think offensively, that'll be, the thing is, obviously, at the end of the day, you got to score more than the opposition, but Grandview hasn't been putting a lot of points on the board necessarily. I think they scored 20 against Wallalook. They only scored 10 against Wapto and got a shutout win, and then they turn around and score 13. So they're not scoring a ton of points, but they're doing enough to win the ball game.
For sure.
And so we can get to 20. I think we stand a pretty good chance. And I think building off of last week's success, the fact we played Zilla close in week 1, and honestly, Davis we played fairly well in week 2 here. Especially in that second half, and they're doing some good things. I mean, I think they lost a 7-0 game to West Valley over the weekend, and so they're a very competitive squad. And so again, just go out and do what you're capable of doing, and I think if we get 3 touchdowns, we're going to win the game.
And hopefully we can ride some momentum into this weekend and into, like you said, the matchup on the 29th versus Prosser. But speaking of momentum, our volleyball team is rolling some momentum after a couple of tough non-league opponents last week. We fell to West Valley on Tuesday in 4 sets, and then rallied back on Thursday to beat three-time defending state champion Chelan on the volleyball court.
And that's a good win. I mean, even if they may be down a little bit this year, don't know where they're at as far as if they're in rebuild mode or things like that, but anytime you can get a win against a team that has proven year after year after year to be at the top of its classification, winning state titles, to come away with a 3-0 sweep is certainly positive. And they were close sets. It's not like they were, we ran away with it necessarily, but I think you kind of learn more in those close games, whether or not you come out on top. Certainly it's more favorable or more enjoyable when you do. But from a coaching standpoint, and so to be able to kind of come away with those close wins, that's going to set them up well for later on in the in the season when they have some opportunities to play some tough competition like the Freitas and Silas and things like that. So, but we start conference play Tuesday night against East Valley, and then Thursday night against Grandview, both at home.
Yep.
So the homestand continues to start the season. And should be a good opportunity. I think East Valley's improved this year. They have a new coach, and Grandview actually has a new coach as well. And they're they won their 2 non-league matches so far. So it'll be exciting to see, but to be able to defend our home court, and look forward to seeing that this week.
Yeah, and one of the advantages that we have, I think, over most of the conference, with the exception of maybe Sela, is we have some height. Alana Mars in the front row, Leah Lewis in the front row, Aubrey Torno in the front row. Hadley Potts, freshman in the front row. We have some 6-footers who not only pose a big blocking scheme, but also, when we're talking about the kills and things like that, those girls are up in the air and they're hitting the ball hard on the other side of the court.
Absolutely. I think Hazel Murphy's another one that she was an all-leaguer last year, and so and she's kind of done some all-around things. She's been able to get a lot of digs, and in addition to the kills and blocks, not discounting the other 4 that you've mentioned, but certainly having height is to your advantage, especially at this level. I think even regardless of what level you're looking at, if you've got the height advantage and girls that can go out and hammer down some kills and get some blocks for you and be versatile players, I mean, I think that's we're in good shape from a personnel standpoint. And a lot of those girls do have experience, state tournament experience, district championship experience, and so as we head into conference play, it's going to bode well for us, and hopefully that trend's going to continue for years and years and years to come, to get not only upperclassmen, but get some of those younger kids some good experience. And you mentioned like Hadley Potts being a freshman and so on. So that's going to be a great great thing to build on, and hopefully, like I said, we'll come away with some victories this week here at home as we get into that league schedule. We're already going to be a 6th of the way through the league schedule by the end of Thursday night. So might as well keep a good thing going and go from there.
Yeah, and you heard Casey say just a minute ago that they had some really solid competition at the Sun Dome, and they only lost 1 set, and it was a close set. So I think our non-league opponents have absolutely prepared us for our conference schedule, and then leading into what's always a challenging tournament up at Burlington.
Absolutely, and I think last year, I don't remember what we did up in Burlington, and that's still like 3 or 4 weeks away. Yeah. But you make a good point as far as we scheduled pretty tough non-league competition. That Sundome tournament is always a challenging tournament, and like you said, we lost 1 set, and that was against a 3A school. And so it prepares us, and that tournament too, the key thing about that is it doesn't count in the overall win-loss record, because it's best 2 out of 3. And
right.
so, so you can take some losses in those, and while you're not going to maybe necessarily finish with a bracket championship, it gives you good opportunity to compete against teams you're not otherwise going to face.
Absolutely.
So again, I think we're in a really good spot. And having some more home cooking, at least this week, should bode well for us again as we really get into the conference schedule in earnest.
All right, now it's time to hear from 3 of our volleyball seniors: Casey Mayo, Aubrey Torno, and Leah Lewis.
Hi, I'm Casey. I'm the setter for the volleyball team.
I'm Leah, and I'm play right side for the volleyball team.
I'm Aubrey, and I play outside for the volleyball team.
Yeah, we saw some strong competition at the Sundome tournament. Only dropped a set.
Yeah, we won the silver bracket.
Yeah, we played really good. The set we lost, we only lost by 2 points.
Awesome. We have a couple games this week at home. We'd love for people to come out. Tuesday, we're here versus East Valley, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And who do we have Thursday?
Grandview.
Grandview.
And what time do games start, ladies?
6:30.
Be there.
And returning to home this week is our soccer team. Had a little bit of a rough stretch last week at East Valley. We lost a close one, 3-2, and then just on Saturday fell to Prosser 6-0. That is a much improved Prosser soccer team. Their coach Mindy Tidball has done a great job.
Absolutely, and yeah, she was coach of the year in the conference last year in her first year, and they're putting up some numbers offensively. So and really that was it was a 1-0 game at halftime, and that goal was late in the first half. So we hung with them, at least for the first 40 minutes, just as we hung with East Valley on Tuesday for, pretty much the full 80.
Right.
So that's a good indicator. Unfortunately, finding the back of the net has been a little bit of a challenge for us so far. I think we've only got 3 goals or 4 goals through 4 games. And so I guess it would be 4. So that's kind of been the thing where we've been struggling a little bit. Again, playing on our own field this week. We've got Kashmir and a non-leaguer on Tuesday. Kashmir hasn't lost yet. They beat Ephrata.
Yep.
And Ephrata's having a good season so far, and they beat Okanagan and Overlake with ties against Montesano and Eastmont. So they're and that should be a low-scoring game, I would expect. I think Kashmir's they're averaging 2 goals a game through 5, and we're averaging, I think it's 1 goal a game through through 4. So so that'll be a good last non-conference test for us. And then we have Grandview at home on Thursday, so I'll have Grandview for both soccer and volleyball Thursday night, and then we go to Sela on Saturday for a noon game, and they're always tough. They've kind of been our nemesis on the pitch. And they're having a strong season, but they do play East Valley tomorrow night. Top 2 teams in the conference head-to-head tomorrow on Tuesday, and we'll kind of see who comes out on top there. But nonetheless, it's going to be a dogfight, pun intended, for Thursday's matchup and Tuesday's matchup, I guess, with Kashmir being the Bulldogs and Grandview the Greyhounds. So hopefully they can get take some of what they did last week, especially in the East Valley game. And bring it out there and keep things close and maybe even steal a victory or 2, but a busy week, 3 games in 5 days, but here we are in the school year. You're going to see a lot of that.
And that's the tough part about soccer too, is playing all those games. It takes a toll on your body, and we're dealing with some injuries right now, and I know that Coach Jim England has been the puzzle master trying to figure out where kids fit best and in the scheme that he's trying to run, the shape that he's trying to keep with the team. So hopefully some of these non-league games, whether they're wins or losses, Jim can kind of help him evaluate and see where people fit best in that.
Exactly, and we kind of alluded to this last week, I think, is we've only got 1 senior on the roster. So you got a lot of, you have some kids that are experienced kids that are, juniors and maybe even a few of the sophomores that played last year. But this is still a really young group. And so we may be kind of seeing, combination of that youth and, quality competition. I mean, that may be indicative of why we are where we are from a wins and loss standpoint. So, again, hopefully continue to gel and build as a team, get a lot of experience for those younger kids, and hopefully be in the thick of it, as we get into conference play.
Yeah, and you mentioned that we have volleyball Thursday the 21st. We have home soccer Thursday the 21st. We also have home cross country on Thursday the 21st for the CWAC preview. So we'll have the whole conference here at Rotary Park, and they'll be all running and participating in some events together to kind of unify that cross-country group in our conference.
Absolutely, and it's kind of good. It's like a conference championship preview, except it's at the beginning of the season. So I think that's the only meet we host this year.
That's true. Yeah, it's also senior day.
So senior day, yeah, senior day, 3 weeks into the school year. But yeah, it'll be a good opportunity for us to see where we're shaping up. Certainly we've had some strong performances so far. We've got our boys got second in the Wenatchee Invitational over the weekend. 26 teams there. So that's really a good indicator as far as where we're at. The girls were fifth, I think, out of 18 teams. Still the top CWAC team there, although I think there were only about 3 of the conference schools participating. But nonetheless, you're looking at we're still doing the things that Ellensburg Cross Country does on an annual basis, and Thursday will be a good opportunity for us to showcase that talent on our home course, and to do so while seeing all the other teams in the 7-team CWAC. And of course the conference championship won't be for another 6 weeks after that on the the 28th of October down in Selah. But be good good to kind of set the tone early as far as what the league's going to have to contend with with Bulldog Cross Country this year. So looking forward to seeing them and hopefully have a successful winning meet.
Yeah, and we recorded our kickoff videos for the year. Coach Hashimoto mentioned both Mystic Hammond for the boys and Emma Beachy for the girls, and Emma finished 11th at Wenatchee, who she was our top finisher for the Bulldogs, and Mystic Hammond and Brody Michael were both in the top 20 for the boys team as well.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. I think Hammond's only a sophomore.
Yep.
And Emma Beachy's is a junior, so that's a good. Again, you got some younger kids that are stepping up and being leaders. And especially in with a large group like this, so not only can they be leaders this year, but for years to come, and so it'll be exciting to see them run on their home course and hopefully do some damage here for the next month and a half.
Another busy week last week. Our Bulldog swimmers were in action on Wednesday and Saturday. Wednesday, our Bulldogs were at Selah. Got a 4th place finish out of the 6 teams that were there. And then on Saturday, went down to Prosser and finished 2nd out of 5 that were there.
Yeah, good week. And again, I think you mentioned last week we have only 9 swimmers on the roster. Yep. Is that accurate? Yep. So, and the one thing about swimming is that because there's not a full league. Not a lot of teams. So we're seeing basically the same teams, meet in and meet out, and 2 meets in 4 days last week is pretty, I won't say that's grueling, but we're doing that, and then you'll have another meet for 11 days. But some great wins. I think with Macy Holiday, I think I saw got Yakima Herald Republic, one of the prep athletes spotlights for this last weck. So that's that's really good. At Selah she won the 100 freestyle. And actually did the 50 freestyle in Prosser, winning that one as well as the 100 freestyle. So she's kind of the leader of that group of kids, but they're competing strong, against the CWAC, so or whatever we call the league that they're competing in.
Sure. Eastern Washington Swim League.
There it is, yeah, and they'll get to see some new blood, if you will, the next time out. 27th, I think it is, back down in Prosser. I think Pullman's coming over, Clarkston maybe. Yep. So it'll be more than just the same 3 or 4 squads. They'll kind of get to mix that in because they will be competing against one another at the regional championships later in the season.
Well, and Coach Shayla Madsen and Lori Holt, her assistant, have done a fantastic job of placing kids in events where they're going to see the most success. So obviously Macy's been very successful with her finishes. Ella Frick, Eliana Fredrickson, we have had some kids who've really stepped up in certain events to get these second place finishes that we've been able to have. And even still on a day where we finish 4th out of 6th, we still have some really solid individual performances happening. Exactly,
and so that's what you want to build on, especially early in the season. And so knowing that they've still got several meets ahead, and take that momentum. I've been talking about the momentum of the football team, momentum of volleyball, what they were able to do with Chelan and heading into league play, and take that momentum and build on it. So looking forward to seeing what they're able to do here the rest of the season.
Well, just to recap, we got a busy week ahead. Our JV football team is at Selah tonight. Tomorrow we got home soccer and home volleyball. Thursday, we got home soccer, home volleyball, home cross country, and then Friday, our football team travels down the road to Grandview High School, and then on Saturday, our soccer team takes on the Vikings down at Sela High School. Jonathan and I are going to try and bring this to you once a week. Hopefully it'll be on Mondays, pending schedule availability. But big thanks, JG, for being here today. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Jonathan. He's our CWAC SID, so he kind of has full working knowledge of everything that goes on in the Central Washington Athletic Conference. And obviously he's very plugged in Ellensburg High School as well because of his duties as public address announcer. So thanks, JG, and we'll see you next week.
Good. Thank you.
Go Dogs.